so much for joining us for another edition of the Bloody Legends with Jai, that Aussie metal guy, and Jim Taylor, brought to you by Crannk.com. Make sure you're a bloody legend and hit that like and subscribe. G'day, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with the Bloody Legends, and the other half is my partner in crime, Jim Taylor, all the way over there in the US, and we have another great American, Matty Mullins of Memphis May Fire, who have been making some huge waves lately with all their latest singles, Shapeshifter being one of them. They've recently announced they're coming over to Australia with Atreyu as well to celebrate the Curse album from Atreyu, which is really good because I think it's like been 15 years, something crazy like that, since you guys have been here. So I'm super excited about it. Matty, thank you so very much for joining us, my friend.
Yeah, I'm stoked, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure, man. So the upcoming Australian tour, you guys must be pretty excited to kind of get down here. It's been 15 years. You got a whole bunch of new material as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's been so long since we've been over there. I mean, we could come over and just play for 6 hours songs that you guys haven't heard live yet, you know? So we'll have to be pretty picky about the set list, and it'll be a really great show. We're excited to show you guys everything that, we've developed over the last decade that we haven't been with you. So
Uh, Definitely some bloody great music. Me and Jim were just talking about. Jim jumped in before and he's like, man, that Shapeshifter track, that new one from Memphis May Fire, absolutely fucking rules, as is all the new material you've been dropping this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that for that latest single?
yeah, Shapeshifter, man, it's the heaviest song that we've ever put out. Which I knew people weren't expecting from us right now, which is cool. We like to do that. The album as a whole is real has so much variety to it, and even between the 5 singles that are out, Chaotic is so different from Hell is Empty. Hell is Empty is so different from Infection, and Infection from Shapeshifter. It's all like they all have their own flavor to a certain extent. So we're really stoked to continue to roll out the remainder of the record and let people hear just how it has something for everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was reading some of the comments on YouTube, and there's like not one song is alike. And from what you put out right now, that's very true. Like that Hell is Empty, very atmospheric, and then the drops in this record, man. They talked to us about that. This is definitely probably, man. This your heaviest record? Like this might be it.
I think it potentially as a whole could certainly be, but one thing that's undeniable is just that there are certain songs on the record that are beyond a shadow of a doubt the heaviest songs we've ever written, and
So,
there's some stuff that's still coming that people haven't heard yet that is so blatantly unexpected. People have no clue what what we have in store, and that's a cool feeling. We like to switch it up and we like to surprise people, and also to kind of spread our wings when we're making a record. Just try to touch base on everything that we enjoy doing, and a lot of that's heavy and some of it's not.
That must really be exciting creatively for you, Matty, to be able to still push the boundaries and have people like blown away, not expecting what you guys are dropping, and still kind of being able to push the boundaries of Memphis May Fire, yeah?
Yeah, it's exciting, man. I mean, people ask pretty frequently, 16 years in, how do we still love doing what we do? And it's like, well, we're doing it for us, and we truly do love the connection that we have with our listeners. That's something that's so special. But before a song ever goes out to the public, we're making something that makes us happy. And so I think as long as we continue to do that, and we're not writing records for other people per se, I think that's the secret to a long and happy career.
awesome. How does it feel going back choosing old songs for this upcoming tour? You're probably like, oh crap, we got to remember how to play it. And
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, like, we have a hard enough time in America picking a set list, like 8 full-length albums in. It's so hard to fit everything that we want to play in there, and Australia is going to be a whole different beast in regards to that. So we'll see, like our US headliner, that's going to be very Shapeshifter focused. And we have to be mindful in Australia that not only are we wanting to bring back some old stuff, but at the same time we're over there and we're pushing a new record over there as well, So it's a whole conversation, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty bloody keen for this Shapeshifter album. It does drop 28th of March, and as we've mentioned a couple of times, it's got some really heavy bangers on it. Can you tell me a little bit about the songwriting process for this? How did you guys approach it? Was it the same as the last album? Did anything differ? Did you have any challenges? Tell us all about it, my friend.
Yeah, very similar to Remade in Misery and how that went down. Remade in Misery, we made that record during the pandemic, which was something that we never thought we needed, but we did need like a full-on reset as a band. And we learned during that process that when it comes time to making music, we really need to put our head in the sand and not think about all the other things going on in the band, like touring opportunities and new merchandise and all this kind of stuff, that it's like it's easy to get distracted. And especially as the band grows, the noise gets louder and louder, and you just have to, when it comes time to make a record, put yourself back in your 16-year-old 17-year-old mindset of just like, the music is all we have. Without the music, there is nothing else. And so we have to get focused, get grounded, and not let any outside noise affect that process. And that very much is the way we did it this time around as well.
That's awesome. I see your furry friend back there, or I see one or two.
Goose and Chappie.
Hi guys. Is this your home? Is this in Denton?
So the band is originally from Texas, but we all live in Nashville, Tennessee now.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, actually, because Denton's one of the coolest cities I've ever been to in my life. So that was I want to share that with you. But I also saw you guys. It was one of the last shows of the Chameleon Club in Lancaster, and
cool.
It was you guys, Madam Mayhem, Seven Dust, and Fire from the Gods.
Yeah, that was a sick tour.
That was a heavy show, dude. And you were coming up, and Jameson from Fire came over and hung out with my buddy. I was there as a guest of Morgan for Seven Dust.
Oh,
so
cool.
This is all I see is War Tour, and I watched you guys from there's like an outer deck, and I was like, these guys are incredible. This is like they got elements of Southern rock, they got hardcore, they got everything. So
yeah,
I mean,
man.
you guys were incredible live. Seriously.
Oh, thank you very much. Is that where you're from? Is Pennsylvania?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Born outside Philadelphia, raised in Virginia.
Awesome, man. Very cool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll be back up there pretty soon too.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yes,
so the latest album is Shapeshifter, and the singles have been released. Can you tell me a little bit about what inspired some of the themes and lyrics for this album for you?
The whole thing is it's very much about authenticity. I think we all, as human beings, we all wear masks in regards to, the things that we hide in fear of them making us unlovable or undesirable. And I think that as human beings, we all have those hidden aspects, things that when they come into the light actually make us realize that we are all the same, rather than any downfalls or shortcomings about ourselves that we feel like separates us from the rest of the world. It's actually the opposite. It's what connects us all. And so it's really raw, it's really honest, and hopefully, it will inspire anybody that feels like they are keeping important pieces of themselves in the shadows, that they're not only allowed to bring those out, but when they bring them out, they're still just as valuable of a person as when they hid them. So
that's gorgeous. I was gonna say, Dallas. Oh, we're still there. Good. I was afraid the internet went out. Sorry, it froze for a second. Sorry. I was like, oh God. That's deep.
Yeah. So that being said, Matty, can I ask you, like, speaking of vulnerabilities and having them up to front and kind of showing those as well and expressing that who we are as well. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the biggest challenges you've faced as a band kind of up until this point?
And I mean, for us, it feels like we've always been a band that was swimming against the current. That we never had the story of, and no shade, honestly, to any band that's ever had kind of the right things at the right time. That's just never been our story, and it's always been, we have music that we feel is special for reason A, B, C, and we really want people to hear it and ingest it. And that just seems to be tougher for some bands than others, and we really do have to work hard for what we have. And so it's been that, like when I very first joined the band, it was a brand new act and they had already put out an EP, but had kind of some instant connections happen with record labels and management. And when I joined the band, everybody dropped the band, this is the second singer, this isn't going to work kind of thing. And rebuilding and rebranding the band with me as the front man was tough in the beginning. And then there's just been challenges that have come along, the last 15 years that I think a lot of bands do deal with, struggle. It's more common to kind of have to fight for your success than it is for it to be handed to you. But we're definitely no exception to that. We have definitely fought for and worked for and earned what we do have currently. And we're very thankful for our listeners that have given us the opportunity to do that.
Well deserved, sir. You guys have had every record you've done. I found you on Challenger,
Oh,
and
cool.
I wore out that owl shirt. I don't have that anymore. Uh, but I thought you guys had it different, and every record you've done something. Okay, how does it still sound like us? But we're going to add this aspect, and I think with this, the brutality of it, but also you've got elements that are um atmosphere, like I said, atmospheric, almost not EDM, but that kind of like Hell is Empty is very, very different from what you've done, and it just slaps. And then
Yeah.
Shapeshifter is just I was like, I don't think I've ever heard Matty go that low. So that
Oh,
was cool.
man. Well, thank you guys. Yeah, I really
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
that.
Comes on talking about live performances. You guys have bloody played all over the bloody place. Pretty keen to see you again over here in Australia. But do you have any really memorable moments that kind of stick out in your mind up until this point?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, and I've said this in a lot of different interviews from a lot of different countries, but Sydney Soundwave was definitely a big moment
Ooh.
for me. It was at random, the festival decided to put us on stage 1A, which was Metallica, and Slayer and us. And as much as we knew, like in that season, that wasn't necessarily something where we fit or belonged by any means, but it was just such a cool opportunity to see what could happen when you put in the legwork, And
Yeah.
so to be there and to do that, to stand on that stage and how just like endless that crowd felt, definitely has always and will always stand out to me as a really special kind of iconic moment in our career. Um, yeah, man. I mean, I feel like because this is an Australian interview, that's maybe the only one I need to share. I have a very special memory from our time over there, and very excited to make more of those when we come back over.
I can't remember what bloody year that was, but I actually caught you guys down in Adelaide, I believe that was for Soundwave that year. I went to Soundwave a whole bunch of times, and I may or may not have been impaired back then, but I'm sober now. But
There you go.
So amazing bloody shows as well, those festivals, and like being in a festival and then coming over and performing like at a venue, a totally different vibe as well, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. We were over in Australia about 10 years ago, and we doing a tour with Parkway Drive, and we played
Oh, nice.
a wild variety of different venues. We actually played the high school that they grew up going to. We did back-to-back days in the gymnasium there, their old high school in Byron Bay.
How
And
Oh,
fucking
nice.
cool.
so it was so sick, man. Yeah. So I feel like between the two times that we've been over there, we have experienced kind of the the variety of different stages. And I think this time will be even different. So we're looking forward to coming over and seeing some more spots.
Awesome.
So how do you think the sound of Memphis May Fire has kind of changed, developed and evolved since since you're coming on board, mate, and over the last 16 plus bloody years?
Yeah.
It's gotten better.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I mean, like obviously, people are ever evolving, and like the things that we love, the things that we're interested in, mixing that with our roots and the elements that will always be there about our music is really kind of the flavor of our band. And for us, that's something that we fearlessly try new things, and we go into every record wanting it to be something special, wanting it to be something different. And so I would say that our sound and how it's evolved is very much a natural progression of where we started and everything that we've picked up along the way and what we've learned, the failures we've had and the successes we've had, and all of that leading to this moment right here.
Yeah, and then how important, like, because we were talking about making albums, you guys still make whole albums, which I bloody love, but is also you got to manage the whole bloody streaming services, and then playing live tends to be more and more like the lifeblood of the band as well, because it's great to get all those streams up, but they're not really paying artists what they fucking deserve, though, is it? So you got to juggle like being able to release a single, and you've done it pretty bloody smart. You've got the instrumentals up there for the singles you released so far, also the a cappella versions, which if you want to bust out some vocals with as well, which was pretty bloody cool. Tell me how you just kind of manage all of that, you know what I mean? Being able to manage the demands of touring, recording, your personal life, being able to fucking juggle all these streaming platforms, which in my opinion, they really need to slice this pie up a lot better. But how do you manage it all, mate?
I don't even know.
Coffee.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is so much. And we've got a great team behind us, that we've spent years building and developing. But it's always changing. I mean, how music is consumed and how we tour and what the budget needs to look like for things to make sense and to be possible. All of that is always a moving target, and I do love albums. I just don't believe in them anymore, and I wish that people still consumed albums the way they did before, but what we have to do is stop wishing and start adapting. And so, we get, a handful of angry comments from people that don't want us to put out as many singles from each record as we are. But the fact of the matter is, it's been a really great model for us to be able to showcase each song to have its own spotlight. Yep. Rather than putting out a body of work and letting it get lost in the translation somewhere, with all the different playlists and things. It's impossible to put out an album as a whole body of work and have all the songs playlisted or all the songs given their own kind of time of day, And so we are really stoked about the way that we're doing things.
Yep.
And I don't see that changing. I don't think albums are going to go away necessarily. Like we'll still like produce them. We'll still like manufacture physical albums and things for people that do want them, but that is certainly not the majority of the way that music is consumed anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, isn't it? I think I agree with you. Streaming platforms aren't going anywhere, but they really need to slice this pie up a little bit better, and artists need to be looked after a lot more first and foremost. Yeah. That's massive to me. But look, 7.13 million views. You're going to have a few people buying the album over there. It must be good to kind of look at those numbers over at Spotify. Like 7.13 million listeners, 99 million streams, 5.15 million fucking hours and 182 countries listen. Do you ever go, wow, oh my fucking God?
Dude, I mean, I don't feel that way. I am just constantly surprised and thankful for how far music can spread, and that's one good thing about the internet and about streaming and things like that, is that it makes music, so easily accessible. So as long as you are able to, get the attention of a listener, then maybe you'll be lucky enough to have somebody listen to your music all the way in Thailand or, you know, wherever. It's just really super important. Oh yeah, that's so sick.
I found my timetable from that
Nice,
year, bro.
dude.
I've even got
That's
the
awesome.
ticket,
I actually
man.
have that as well. I have that same sticker.
Yeah, man. I've got them all
That's
still,
cool.
dude. That was a great, man. I can't wait to catch you guys down under. We may let you bounce off before I do. I
Yes,
do
sir.
have to ask you quickly, looking back on your career, what are you most proud of so far, Matty?
Man, I would say I am most proud of our band's ability to push through no matter what comes our way. You know, it's really easy to let personalities and personal things kind of really affect how a band operates and even if the band is able to operate. And we have done a really good job at being intentional about leaving personal things at the door and walking on stage and putting on the best show that we possibly can, no matter what any of us are going through. And that can be
That's
really
what it's
tough. It can
about.
be taxing, but it is something that we strive to do. And I'm definitely proud of us for being able to do that.
Yeah,
It brings you guys together. That's what's beautiful, man. Awesome.
Exactly. We're all a weird bunch. We've talked about this, me and Jim, all that energy, whether it be negative energy, bad energy, sad energy, good energy, you just put it all into the fucking music.
Just put it
and
all
create.
there, man.
Yeah,
Awesome.
man, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate you having me.
Absolute pleasure, Matty.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there, mate?
Yeah, Memphis May Fire, Atreyu, Australia in July of 2025. Tickets are on sale now. We cannot wait to see you guys.
Damn straight. Go
Thank
catch
you, sir.
them in July. And while you're doing that, go chuck in some pre-orders for Shapeshifter. It does drop 28th of March 2025. You're going to want to chuck in some Memphis May Fire. Put it in the stereo. Crank it up really bloody loud because the neighbors are going to want to hear it too. Cheers, Matty.
Let's go. Awesome. Thanks, you
Cheers,
guys.
mate.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai, that Aussie metal guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.